Hello again, and welcome back to week 36 of year 3 of the Religious Education Initiative. This is day 3. We're continuing through the Gospel of Matthew. So last time we saw Jesus speaking to the Pharisees and to all the crowds, showing them in parables the consequences of rejection of him, and how by refusing him entry into their hearts, they left a space which all kinds of evil would rush into and fill. He told them as well the famous parable of the sower, about the man who planted seed in all kinds of different ground, and how the ground bore fruit in a variety of different ways, and how the seeds were carried away or trampled, or the new shoots were choked by thorns, etc., and how some of the seed fell and grew in good soil. This time he will explain the parable and also why it is that he speaks in parables. Then the disciples came and asked him, "Why do you speak to them in parables?" He answered, "To you it has been given to know the secrets of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it has not been given. For to those who have, more will be given, and they will have an abundance. But from those who have nothing, even what they have will be taken away. The reason I speak to them in parables is that seeing they do not perceive, and hearing they do not listen, nor do they understand. With them indeed is fulfilled the prophecy of Isaiah that says, 'You will indeed listen, but never understand, and you will indeed look, but never perceive. For this people's heart has grown dull, and their ears are hard of hearing, and they have shut their eyes, so that they might not look with their eyes, and listen with their ears, and understand with their heart, and turn, and I would heal them.' But blessed are your eyes, for they see, and your ears, for they hear. Truly I tell you, many prophets and righteous people longed to see what you see, but did not see it, and to hear what you hear, but did not hear it." Hear then the parable of the sower. When anyone hears the word of the kingdom and does not understand it, the evil one comes and snatches away what is sown in the heart. This is what was sown on the path. As for what was sown on rocky ground, this is the one who hears the word and immediately receives it with joy. Yet such a person has no root, but endures only for a while, and when trouble or persecution arises on account of the word, that person immediately falls away. As for what was sown among thorns, this is the one who hears the word, but the cares of the world and the lure of wealth choke the word, and it yields nothing. But as for what was sown on good soil, this is the one who hears the word and understands it, who indeed bears fruit and yields in one case 100-fold, in another 60, and in another 30. He put before them another parable. The kingdom of heaven may be compared to someone who sowed good seed in his field, but while everybody was asleep, an enemy came and sowed weeds among the wheat, and then went away. So when the plants came up and bore grain, then the weeds appeared as well. And the slaves of the householder came and said to him, "Master, did you not sow good seed in your field? Where then did these weeds come from?" He answered, "An enemy has done this." The slaves said to him, "Then do you want us to go and gather them?" But he replied, "No, for in gathering the weeds you would uproot the wheat along with them. Let both of them grow together until the harvest, and at harvest time I will tell the reapers, 'Collect the weeds first, and bind them in bundles to be burned, but gather the wheat into my barn.'" Now, it's very easy for us to read these and kind of zoom in on a couple of these, a couple points. Especially challenging to us is the statement that we see in verse 12, "For to those who have, more will be given, and they will have an abundance. But from those who have nothing, even what they have will be taken away." We tend to look at this and think, well, that's not fair. Why did God design things that way? Why does he make it so hard for those who have nothing to enter into, to enter into plenty, to enter into the abundance that the Lord offers us of grace and love and peace? I think the point, though, is as with the parables, as with the hearing, it's not that God is trying to conceal the truth from those who, if they could only hear, could advance in faith. He's rather concealing refraining from bringing a moment of crisis on those who have already rejected, who are already far away, who are already distant. Effectively is giving a gentle invitation that may be rejected without sin, perhaps, or without the final sin that can perhaps work in the heart. The Lord is calling people back, but he calls them in accordance with what they are able, with where they are, with how they have already established their lives, their willingness to hear, their willingness to respond. The point is, God is not making anyone unwilling to listen. He's not keeping anyone far away, but he is coming to us the way in which, how do I say this? The way in which we hear him will depend on how we have built our heart and our life, whether we are ready, whether we are willing to listen. So the parables are given to those who are not willing to listen, but they hear something, and they hear a story, so it kind of works on their mind, and perhaps it loosens the soil of their heart, and they are more able to hear as time goes by. Perhaps they are prepared, perhaps they are changed over time, without where if they had simply been told, here is God, choose now, life or death, good or evil, and they would say, well, I'm not ready for you. What are you talking about? I'm not ready for that. And in that way they reject the one invitation, the one encounter with God. So instead the parables are there. But as for the passage we started with, for those who have, more will be given, this is simply saying if we are already on the path of salvation, then we move from strength to strength, from joy to joy, deeper and deeper into the presence of the Lord. But if we are far away, we are very far away from that abundance. And it is hard to move closer to the source of life when we are already far away. This is simply a reality of our lives, of our relationships, of our existence. And we may observe this in many different places in our life. I think the governing parable for all of this should be the last one, this parable of the weeds among the wheat, because the seed is good, and many good things are growing up, but when that enemy goes in and sows evil things, they come up as well. And that's not to say there are evil people planted in the midst of good people, but in the hearts of those that God created to be good, our enemy, the devil, the demons, have planted temptations, have planted lusts, have planted confusion, have planted doubts. And these things grow up alongside our good intentions. And if we were brought to the crisis and judged immediately right now, which is to say, if the servants were to go and remove the weeds by force, then that might destroy us. So the Lord instead waits. He says, wait till the harvest, and then we will remove the weeds, and they will be destroyed. But all that is good, all the wheat, will be saved. So God is patient. God ultimately he allows a great deal of evil so that he does not destroy us with the first hint of evil, but he allows us the opportunity to repent. He allows all of humanity the opportunity to turn again to him. So that is what our life is for, to turn towards the Lord. And we must do so, because that time is not forever, and the time of the harvest will come. So anyway, this is a challenging passage, I think. But if we, especially challenging because it's hard for us to hold on to a single one of the parables, much less all of them at once. But if we could hold on to everything that is said in the preceding chapter, in chapter 12, and the parable of the sower, and the parable and the explanation, and the parable of the wheat and the tares, all of these explain and speak to one another, and together they present as a picture of God's relationship with us, of his patience with us, of what we need to do to respond. So, anyway, Christ is risen, Christos Anesti. Have a wonderful rest of the week, and we'll see you next week. God bless.